The art of the reveal. The click of a mouse was the only sound in the dimly lit digital lab of St. Jude's University. Lora leaned closer to her dual monitors, her eyes scanning the vibrant vector lines of her latest graphic design project. On the upper left corner of the screen, the project's name blinked in a soft, clean font. The Horizon Campaign. It was a rebranding project for a massive real estate firm, a contract Lora had secured entirely on her own merit at just 22. She was meticulous, sharp, and fiercely independent. While other students were partying, Lora was building a digital design empire from her dorm room. "You're going to blind yourself, babe," a warm voice murmured. Lora turned, her lips parting into a genuine smile as Ethan walked into the lab. He was holding a thermal cup of her favorite hazelnut coffee. Ethan was everything she had ever wanted, grounded, pursuing his master's in architecture, and fiercely proud of Lora's independence. He leaned down, brushing a stray lock of dark hair from her forehead, and kissed her cheek. "It's past 9 p.m. You've been staring at that red logo for 6 hours. It has to be perfect, Ethan," Lora smiled, taking the coffee. "The executives are flying in next month. This contract secures my agency's future." Before Ethan could reply, the heavy wooden door of the lab creaked open. A soft, hesitant voice broke the silence. "Lora? Oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't know Ethan was here. I can leave." It was Mia. Mia stood in the doorway, clutching an oversized sketchpad to her chest. She was wearing a pastel pink cardigan that looked slightly too big for her frame, her blonde hair tied in a loose, messy bun that looked calculatedly effortless. Her wide, innocent eyes flicked nervously between Lora and Ethan. Mia was Lora's roommate and classmate, a girl who had built her entire campus persona on being small, delicate, and perpetually overwhelmed. "Don't be silly, Mia, come in," Lora said, waving her hand. "What's wrong?" Mia shuffled into the room, her sneakers squeaking softly. She didn't look at Lora. Her eyes anchored directly onto Ethan. "It's just the advanced typography assignment. The professor said my spacing was completely wrong and I felt so stupid. I didn't know who else to ask, and I know Lora is so busy with her big, successful clients." Mia bit her lower lip, letting her voice trail off into a fragile whisper. "I don't want to fail. Let me look at it," Lora offered, reaching for the sketchpad. But Mia stepped slightly to the right, placing herself directly in Ethan's line of sight. "Oh, Lora, I don't want to bother you. You're working on your massive project." "But Ethan, you're so good with spatial structures and grids. Do you think you could just look at it for 1 second? Only if it's okay with Lora, of course." Ethan blinked, caught off guard by the sudden request. Sure, Mia. I can take a look." He stepped over, leaning over the desk as Mia opened her pad. Lora watched them. She noticed how Mia shifted an inch closer to Ethan than necessary. She noticed how Mia's voice dropped an octave, becoming softer, higher, and laced with a breathless cuteness. "See," Mia whispered, her fingers lightly brushing against Ethan's forearm as she pointed at a letter. "I just get so confused. I wish I had a brain like Lora's or yours. I'm just so clumsy with these things." "It's just basic kerning, Mia," Ethan said gently, pulling his arm back slightly, though he didn't seem to notice the intentionality behind her touch. "You just need to balance the negative space." "Wow," Mia breathed, looking up at him through her eyelashes, her face radiating pure, unadulterated admiration. "You explained that so much better than the professor. Thank you, Ethan. Honestly, I don't know what I'd do without you and Lora." Lora sat quietly, sipping her coffee. A strange, cold sensation prickled at the back of her neck. It wasn't jealousy, it was data collection. Lora was a designer. Her entire life was built on recognizing patterns. And over the past 2 weeks, a pattern had been emerging. When Ethan came over to their shared apartment, Mia would suddenly appear in the living room wearing short silk pajamas, gasping and apologizing for not knowing anyone was out here. When Ethan mentioned he liked a specific indie rock band, Mia's Spotify status magically changed to playing that exact artist the next morning. When Lora was stuck in late-night client meetings, Mia would text Ethan asking for urgent advice on household issues, like how to fix a leaky faucet or bleed a radiator. It was subtle. It was delicate. It was the classic textbook maneuver of a girl trying to play the fragile victim to attract a protective man. 2 weeks later, the pattern solidified into undeniable proof. It was a rainy Thursday afternoon. Lora had returned to the apartment unexpectedly early because a professor had canceled a lecture. The apartment was quiet except for the hum of the washing machine. Lora walked into the kitchen to make tea when she noticed Mia's laptop sitting open on the dining table. Mia was in the shower. The sound of running water echoed from the bathroom down the hall. Lora wasn't a snooper. She respected boundaries. But as she passed the table, a floating notification banner on Mia's screen caught her eye. It was an iMessage preview. The contact name was Ethan. The message from Mia read, "It's just so hard living with someone so competitive. Lora is great, but sometimes she makes me feel like I'm just a shadow in my own home. I try to be happy for her success, but she can be so cold when the cameras are off. I feel so safe talking to you about this, Ethan. Please don't tell her I said anything, she'd hate me." Lora stood perfectly still. The kettle began to whistle, a sharp, piercing sound that matched the sudden, absolute clarity in her mind. She didn't scream. She didn't storm into the bathroom and tear down the shower curtain. Instead, Lora calmly moved closer to the laptop. She scrolled up through the chat log. As Mia spoke, Lora quietly walked over to the tech booth at the back of the hall. The student running the projector was an intern at Lora's agency. Lora gave him a slight nod. The intern slid a custom flash drive into the main terminal. Suddenly, mid-sentence, Mia's presentation cut to black. The crowd murmured in confusion. "Oh, I'm sorry, a little technical glitch." Mia laughed nervously into the mic, stamping her foot cutely. "I'm so clumsy with technology." But the screen didn't reload her slides. Instead, a massive legal document appeared on the projection screen. It was a certified United States copyright registration certificate. On the top line, the owner of the designs was listed in bold letters. Lora Sterling, CEO of Aura Design Group. The timestamp on the registration was dated exactly 14 months ago. Before Mia could process what was happening, the screen split in two. On the left side were the designs Mia was claiming as her own. On the right side was a live, automated metadata extraction code, highlighting the hidden digital signature embedded in every single line of the files. Property of Lora Sterling. Unauthorized use is subject to federal prosecution. The silence in the grand hall became deafening. The primary corporate executives moved closer to the screen, their expressions turning entirely clinical. The head professor stepped forward, his face pale with fury. What is this?" Mia stammered, her voice cracking, completely losing its high-pitched sweetness. She looked around the room frantically. "This is a mistake. Someone hacked my slides. Lora did this to me. She's jealous of me." But the presentation wasn't done. The screen shifted one final time. A large audio wave file appeared, and a voice began to play through the high-end surround sound speakers of the auditorium. It was crystal clear. "It's Lora. She's become so cold. She told me that I'm a parasite. If you were mine, Ethan, I would never make you wait. I would make you my entire world." It was the audio recording from the apartment security camera from the weekend before. The entire room listened to Mia's desperate, manipulative confession, followed by Ethan's booming, disgusted reply. "You're lying. Fabricating lies to tear down the woman I love? She is better than you because she has integrity." Mia stood frozen at the podium. The spotlight suddenly felt like an interrogation beam. The mask of the cute, innocent girl was ripped away so violently that she looked completely unrecognizable. She was exposed as a thief, a liar, and a home wrecker in front of her professors, her peers, and every major employer in the state. "This is academic plagiarism and a severe violation of university code," the department head said, his voice echoing through the microphone from the floor. "Miss Vance, step down from the stage immediately. Security will escort you to the dean's office." 2 campus security guards walked up the steps. Mia didn't even fight. She burst into real, ugly tears, not the delicate ones she practiced in the mirror, and covered her face as she was marched down the center aisle, the crowd parting before her like she was contagious. Lora stood at her booth, calmly sipping her water. She didn't clap. She didn't cheer. She watched the execution with the same cold precision she used to align pixels on a screen. The lead corporate executive turned away from the stage, walking directly over to Lora's booth. He looked at her clean, authentic display, then down at the professional portfolio sitting on her counter. A genuine expression of respect crossed his face. "Brilliant defense of your intellectual property, Miss Sterling," the executive said, extending his hand. "A good designer protects their work. A great CEO protects their empire. Let's sign that contract." Lora smiled, shaking his hand firmly. "Thank you, sir. Let's get to work." From the back of the hall, Ethan walked over, slipping his hand into hers, his grip tight, supportive, and proud. As the flashbulbs of the university press began to take photos of Lora standing at her winning booth, she looked out at the empty stage where Mia had just fallen. Peace, success, and loyalty weren't things you could steal through cheap manipulation and artificial sweetness. They were structures you had to earn, designed with honesty, and built on a foundation too strong for a parasite to ever scratch.